Today we're gonna be making a homemade queso dip. This is one of my absolute favorites to make at home. I have never shared this recipe and it was going in my next cookbook, but I said, you know what? Y'all show me love, why not show love back? I'm using breakfast sausage inside of this because it has an incredible flavor fusion to it. We're using simple cheeses, simple ingredients, and of course, the Kickin' Cajun by House of Flavor is the true next star of the show because it gives you just the right amount of flavor added to it to make it good. But guess what? I want you to be able to make this for your next party or share with your family, so let's get right into it. The first thing we wanna do is we're gonna brown that breakfast sausage meat. So once you get that meat browned up really good, right about like that, then you want to go ahead to the next step. Now you want to add in about 1.5 cups of heavy cream. Now I'm adding in about 4 ounces of pepper jack cheese. You can use whatever yellow cheese you like. Give that a nice mix. And then you want to put in about 16 ounces of white Velveeta queso cheese. And you drop that all in there and let that heat melt and infuse that in really good. Now you want to cut that heat down and let it simmer on low because you don't want to burn that cheese. You want to let it melt real slow. I'm using a can of Rotel, which of course is your diced chilies and your tomatoes. And then I'm going to add that into the mix like that. Now the beauty of this is some of the liquid from that Rotel is gonna give it a nice consistency and loosen that cheese up a little bit so it's not so thick. Once that melts really good, this is gonna be exactly what we want it to be. Now that the cheese and stuff is starting to melt down real good, the Rotel is infused in there, you wanna add a little spice to it. Now for me, you can use whatever you like, but I prefer the House of Flavor Kickin' Cajun because it has the right blend of everything that I want to enhance that dip to give it just the right amount of spice undertone. So I'm gonna add about 1 tablespoon or more, depending on how you like it. And then you wanna mix that in there, and that's gonna change the color, but it's gonna give a nice Cajun flair to that dip. And in my opinion, that's what makes dips really nice, is when they have the right spice level. Look at that. We're gonna let that sit. Now I've been letting this sit here and simmer for about a nice 7 to 10 minutes. And what I'm gonna do now as a final step is to add a little water to it. Now I choose to add a little water because it can thin out the consistency, make it a little less thick and easier to scoop up and pour. It can also help stretch the dip. If you're running low or you want to adjust the texture, just be careful not to add too much water as it can dilute the flavor. Nice and creamy. All that cheese is finally melted down. It has plenty of flavor on the inside and you want it just like that. Look at that. Now, just to add a little color to things to top this off, I chopped up a little bit of fine fresh parsley, and I'm just gonna drop this inside of here just to get a little bit of color, just like that. That's it. Now I wish I could tell you it was much more complicated than this, but it is not. It is super easy, incredibly delicious. The consistency is unbelievable. I sprinkle a little of that Cajun seasoning directly on my chips, and of course, nothing matters until the deal is sealed with the taste. Creamy, delicious, flavorful, the right amount of spice, an absolute win. And if you haven't had a chance yet to check out my viral video, the taco cupcakes, you definitely want to check that out because it is also another party favor to add to your repertoire.